The US, the EU and their allies are to cut Russia off from the SWIFT international payment system. The EU says the move will effectively block Russian imports and exports.
We commit to ensuring that a certain number of Russian banks are removed from SWIFT. This will ensure that these banks are disconnected from the international financial system and harm their ability to operate globally. SWIFT is the world's dominant global interbank payment system. Cutting banks off will stop them from conducting most of their financial transactions worldwide and effectively block Russian exports and imports. The European Union and its partners are working to cripple Putin's ability to finance his war machine.
Western economies also decided to freeze the assets and transactions of the Russian central bank and also target the country's oligarchs, prohibiting them from using their assets through EU markets. The European Commission said the move had been agreed in coordination with other countries, including the US, UK and Canada. They haven't yet revealed exactly how many and which Russian banks will be affected, but the damage could be devastating for Moscow, and the development's been welcomed by Ukraine. We have this important victory. This is a fair decision to cut Russia off from the international payment system. It means billions and billions of losses for Russia. It's a concrete price for its treacherous invasion of Ukraine. Zelensky also welcomed Berlin's decision to send military aid to Ukraine. Germany, one of the most reluctant to send defensive equipment, will dispatch 1,000 anti-tank weapons and 500 Stinger missiles. In addition, up to 9 EU countries have banned Russian planes from their airspace, including Poland, Romania and Germany.
The Office of the President of Ukraine has said that a delegation will be sent to meet with Russian diplomats on the Belarusian border as Moscow's forces draw nearer to Kyiv. Zelensky's office said on the Telegram messaging app that the two sides would meet, but did not give a precise location or time for the meeting. The development follows news earlier that Russian President Vladimir Putin had ordered his country's nuclear forces to be put on high alert in response to what he called, quote, aggressive statements by leading NATO powers. Earlier this week, the Russian leader threatened to retaliate harshly against any nations that intervened directly in the conflict in Ukraine. Russian diplomats had been sent to Belarus to await peace talks with the Ukrainians. The Ukrainian government had initially rejected the invitation to travel to Belarus, where Russia has stationed a significant number of troops. They said, however, that they would be willing to open dialogue at another neutral venue.
In this military station in Kyiv, trains are packed, but people still try to board, desperate to escape Russia's invasion. The United Nations Refugee Agency says more than 360,000 Ukrainians have entered neighbouring countries. Inside this train to Kharkiv, a city close to the Romanian border, there are mainly women and children. Men aged 18 to 60 are not allowed to leave the country. They've been asked to stay back and fight. 20 kilometres west of the Medica border, a primary school gym has been filled with nearly 100 beds. Poland's government says more than 100,000 Ukrainians have crossed the border in the past 48 hours alone. Here, food and other supplies are being brought in by the local fire brigade. In Zahori in Hungary, a town that borders Ukraine, supplies are being delivered by the citizens themselves. The amount of aid so overwhelming, volunteers form a human chain to get it out of the trucks and into those who need it most.
Despite the sharp response from police, Russians are continuing to protest over the invasion of Ukraine. For a third day, demonstrations took place across the country, including one in the second largest city, St. Petersburg. Over the past 72 hours, police have arrested more than 3,000 peaceful protesters, according to OVD, an independent rights monitoring group in Russia. Over 200 of those detained were in Moscow and over 100 in St. Petersburg. Once again, hundreds of anti-war protesters took to the streets of the eastern city of Yekaterinburg on Saturday. At least 69 people were arrested there. I'm ashamed. I haven't been able to live normally for several days. I'm burning with shame. I'm infinitely ashamed of what's happening. It's scary for those who are there and those who are here. It can't be any worse. We're the aggressors, and people are dying because of us, and it disgusts me. Since the Russian government forbids the expression of dissent, you have to feel strongly and be brave to protest, and that's exactly what's happening.